Today we are going to be swapping out the, I think it's a PV30 carburetor out of my Apollo 250 for the X Pro Mikuni carburetor. Supposed to be a good carburetor for pretty much any 250 China-made bike like the Hawk 250. This carburetor is supposed to really wake this bike up. It's supposed to increase roughly about 15% on power. What exactly that means, I don't know. If it'll bring the torque up or the horsepower up or both, I imagine it's probably both. But yeah, this is a really hard bike to get to the carburetor. You got to take all the plastic off and the fuel tank, the seat, and all that stuff to get to the carburetor right back there. Yeah, it's fun to get to. Oh, and this rust that you see here, the battery didn't come with one of those little rubber boots to go on the nipple where the acid, I guess, vents. And so, like the first day I got the bike, I was jumping in and out of the ditches on the side of the road over there, having some fun, and bogged it down and laid it down a little bit. Didn't really wreck, just kind of come to a stop and then just fell over. The way most of my wrecks, except for this one, goes. But anyway, so yeah, the acid leaked on all that stuff, and that's why it's rusty looking. So if you get one of these bikes, make sure that that battery, the little vent on the side of it is plugged up. And because I didn't have anything to plug it up with that came with the bike, I took some automotive black silicone and stopped the hole up with that. And so far it seems to be working pretty good. Okay. So this is the slide from the original carburetor, or stock carburetor. If you're wondering why I took it off with the intake manifold, I did that because these bolts are extremely hard to get to while in there. So, I mean, why not, right? It's only 2 extra bolts, and it's a whole lot quicker than trying to wrestle with these while everything bolted up. Okay, so this new carburetor, you can see the fuel bowl here is a lot wider. This carburetor weighs almost as much as this one does with the intake manifold bolted to it. I guess it helps if I turn it the right way while looking at it. Yeah, there are a few differences, very subtle differences to it. One of the main things I like about this Mikuni carburetor already is it actually has 4 bolts to hold the fuel bowl on, and these bolts I didn't have to cut. Had to go to Fastenal to get some new ones for this because they rounded the heads off. They were basically like Phillips tip screws, and they rounded them off so that no one could get inside the carburetor. And this is the air mixture screw, not the idle air mixture screw, but the to control how rich the fuel and air mixture is. This had a brass plug in it that was roughly about 1/8 of an inch thick, and I finally got that out of there. And I tried adjusting that to make the bike run a little bit better, and it did. Honestly, it ran a little bit stronger off the bottom end, but it's constantly getting stopped up, and I'm tired of going through cans and cans of carburetor cleaner, trying to keep this thing going. So why not just spend $55 on a good, hopefully a good carburetor. So we're going to check the difference between the spring and this needle valve or slide that holds the needle. Check the differences on this. Well, the stock needle sits down a little bit further, a little bit longer, slightly different retainer. But other than that, everything seems to be hit some trails. Kickstand don't want to flip forward all the way. Oh, and I know you guys are wondering what happened here. Well, to do a wheelie with this bike, you've really got to get on the throttle and dump the hell out of the clutch and pull up at the same time. So that's what I did about 3 or 4 times in a row, and finally got to that point of no return where you scrub your fender against the grass. And anyway, I was too late on hitting the back brake because someone, I wonder who that could have been, the only one who rides this bike, bent the rear brake lever up a little bit, so it wasn't where I was expecting it to be. Okay, so the Mikuni carburetor works. It does have a little bit more power. I wouldn't say 15%. To me, it's hardly noticeable. The throttle is smoother. It does feel like second gear is a little bit longer because you have a smoother throttle. It's not burping a little bit. I like it. It's definitely smoother. It's a little bit more power. Maybe I'm thinking or getting the smoothness mixed up with the power. Having a smooth carburetor does make a world of difference, and having a not so smooth one on here before may make it seem like one that's running properly has more power. But I would so far I would definitely say, if you have one of these bikes and you're looking to do something to get a smoother ride or whatever, I would consider getting that that Mikuni carburetor. I think this one was an X Pro Mikuni carburetor. Let's see if I can find the website. I don't have it, but anyway, I'm sure it's no different than any other Mikuni carburetor.